Video games, one of the greatest forms of expression of our generation. The Penguins of Madagascar, one of the greatest movies, of at least someone's opinion. The Game Boy Advance wasn't a total flop, but at the same time, when you compare its success to its predecessors and its future, you see it not doing as well. But either way, put all these things together and you get a 7 on Game FAQs, a 7 on Game Chronicles, 8 on GameStop, a 7.5 on GameZone, and lastly a 5 out of 10 on IGN. But for the audience score on IGN, the game got a 10, which is beyond all reason, but I'm all here for it. With such reviews ranging from the truthful, "Bruh, this is fire," to the downright deceitful, "I got this for free and it wasn't even worth it." Today I'll put all of those other reviews to rest. I consider myself to be a video game player. What's stopping me from reviewing this game and coming up with a definitive score for this occult classic? Nothing is the correct answer, and something is true. So join me as I review the greatest game of our generation with a whopping 8 on Metacritic, Madagascar, Operation Penguin. The main question I had regarding the title was the fact that it was Operation Penguin and not Penguins of Madagascar, the video game. Well, I then looked up the date in which this game released and the date the movie released, and then I realized that I was just a fool. So if I can't base this pseudo-history section of the video about the movie that I wish this was based on, I guess I'll just have to talk about their appearances in the movies themselves. From my memory, the Penguins didn't play that pivotal a role in the first movie. They showed up for a few bits and didn't really do much besides that. So now I'm left with the question of why they chose to make a video game about these guys instead of any of the main cast. And actually, I do have an answer, even though I say it doesn't really have an answer. The answer is that they already had a game coming to like PS2 or whatever, you know what I mean? And they had to make like a handheld version and this handheld version. But this is a post-correction. And truly, this will never have an answer. But I don't care. Whoever at Activision made this suggestion is my hero. I love this game. Now you may ask, Activision? Don't they own like every single modern gaming IP? The answer is yes. So then why are you confused on why they made this game? They had to. Then I looked into the second company attached to this game, Vicarious Vision. Let's just go to www.vvvisions.com, and this just gets better and better. Being bought out by Blizzard in 2021, thus merging the companies, connects this stupid, tiny licensed GBA game to two of the biggest juggernauts of video gaming today. Which, sure, Blizzard is technically the parent company of Activision, but whatever, tomatoes matter. Oh, and Treyarch also helped with the assets on this, so I guess that's a half of a juggernaut, because Treyarch were bought out by Activision, so 2.5. 2.5 juggernauts worked on this game. Well, and Toys for Bob also helped a bunch, so I guess that counts as another 3, so three, that's it, that's total 3 juggernauts. Which is partially why I'm talking about this game. Well, not entirely. Besides the idea of this game being in the past of the biggest gaming companies of today, which made me giggle a little bit, this game came upon me by mere chance. I was scrolling on one of those emulator in-browser sites and I found 2-in-1 Madagascar, Operation Penguin, and Shrek 2, which drew me in, because personally I love the Penguins of Madagascar movie, and then this game sort of just clicked with me and made me want to make a video on it. My last reason for doing this, which is a little less obvious, is that I wanted to make a video about a game no one cares about and no one can beat me to the punch on talking about. Also, before I start talking about this game, can we talk about how this game was nominated for Best Video Game at the Kids' Choice Awards in 2006, despite coming out in 2005, only to lose to Mario Superstar Baseball, Madden 06, and The Incredibles. And Sonic 06 wasn't even nominated! Who runs this show? These are the most endearing credits of all time. Why can't more credit sequences be like this? Anyhow, if there was one way I could describe the visuals of this game, it's JPEG compression, the video game. Nearly every asset here looks like JPEG compression took another victim. For example, this save file screen. Look, it's nice having 3 save files, but I don't want to look at this while I'm doing it. Though you do get to name your save file whatever you want, so it doesn't really matter. Don't question the names of my files. When the game starts, you're greeted by an interaction between Skipper and Private. This game's dialogue system is simple and to the point. A still image of the character talking next to a dialogue box of what they're saying, which Undertale would go on to shamelessly steal. 10 years later. And there's something inherently otherworldly about Skipper just saying, press A to jump and B to attack out loud. Actually, quick tangent about this game's sound design before we beat the tutorial. This game's sound effects aren't all that bad, and the little voice lines are also neat. The OST itself is actually a pretty good one, with it being the most memorable part of this game according to YouTube autofill. Anyways, time to continue my attack. After defeating some evil dog,
I love this so much.
Also, I don't like to plug often, but the gameplay of this game is going to be going on my second channel, The Second Coin, if you want to see my reactions to everything. Then you're sent back to the New York Zoo with the rest of your crew. Skipper debriefs you on your mission, which I didn't read because I just don't care. One thing I do find funny is that at any point after any mission you can talk to Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico. Talking to Skipper usually just amounts to him saying, "Go, get him, do it on the double," and Rico just does this. But Kowalski, like usual, just acts like the voice of logic and actually tells you what you need to do. Then you're off to your first mission, the tutorial level. This level, if you couldn't tell by the gameplay, is heavily implied to require replaying in order to get everything, with interactable looking objects blocking medals you can't get to yet. Which brings me to the medals themselves. These medals are scattered across all the levels, and usually don't take too much brainpower to find. In honesty, the hardest ones to get are the ones where you have to go back to older levels with new abilities to get to. There are 1,000 medals in the game for 100% completion. Every 100 medals you get you another HP point added to your bar. And speaking of the HP bar, it's made of little fish that represent each point of health. You start off with 3 and max out with 10. You can heal back by picking up these little fish, and the golden fish will bring you all the way back to full no matter what your health is looking like. This tutorial also teaches you all about attacking enemies with the B button. The attacking itself is fairly intuitive, with it not being too hard to hit things. But in general, most of the enemies in this game are trivial enough to handle. In fact, in my playthrough, I just jumped over a lot of them.
Everyone's going wild for the hit game Madagascar. It's the kickinest, roaringest, flyingest, and bounciest way to get from the zoo to a place that's totally new. Madagascar the game, rated everyone 10 and up. And now launching a new game, Operation Penguin, rated everyone victory.
The next mission after the tutorial is tobogganing, where the game starts the trend of giving you a new ability every single level. The ability for the tobogganing level is the crawl, where when you press the left trigger you will lay on the ground and crawl, letting you go under shorter spaces. And when you go down a hill while crawling, you'll slide down. And if you couldn't guess, that's the gimmick of this level. This level specifically has 3 different parts where you will return to in order to progress the story. Private, we gotta get out of here. Don't worry, I'll handle this. I am a toboggan king. And I don't know if it's my fault or not, but these levels were just too hard for no reason. I had to use the age-old power of save scumming to 100% this thing, and even then it was annoying. Either way, beating this lets you go on to the next level. The new ability here are these candy canes, which will let you hang from the ceiling and shimmy off of there. Personally, I don't really like these things because of how slow you shimmy. The next mission involves you getting to Melman to dance as a distraction so we can dig to Antarctica unseen. Riveting plot, I know. The level introduces these spiders, and that's all I need to know about it. I hate these guys. You know, I don't think I'm going to talk about the models here, or how they look compared to each other, because what do I have to say that you can't see? Melman then tells us that he can't dance unless someone gets rid of the icy fans in the Arctic exhibit that are giving him pneumonia or something. This isn't really a part of the plan, but fine, Melman, I'll amuse you. The ability you are given for this level is the smacking fish, which just allows you to destroy low-bearing walls and logs, and not much else. But I guess that does solve the fan problem. This level also introduces this gopher enemy, which is quite literally only seen 2 times. Anyways, now we're back on track. Now that the fans are off, Melman can dance. And while Melman dances, we can get the spoons we'll need in order to dig to Antarctica easier. The new ability for this level is smiling and waving, where when you hold up, you become 100% invincible. This is mainly used for stealth portions to avoid humans seeing you, but retroactively can be used to avoid any threat in the entire game. But mainly it's just meant to be used on the humans, which thankfully are easy enough to dodge so that I don't go insane after being caught hundreds of times. But anyways, let's just hop into this next mission. Makes you wonder how the Kids' Choice Awards could have picked any other game to nominate now, doesn't it? Anyway, something I had no idea you could do until a recent playthrough is that if you hit the humans on the back with the fish, it knocks them out, which would have been nice to know sooner. But now that we have the spoons, Skipper says we still need more things. This next thing being a slingshot from a duck, but in order to reach this duck, we need to get to Marty and ride him to the duck. And instead of talking about those levels, I'm going to be talking about this next power-up, the food bag parachute. This thing is awesome. I love any game with gliding mechanics, and this is no different. This game improves tenfold after unlocking this thing, though I will say riding Marty is a pretty fun segment, because you can just jump over the humans on him. Anyways, then the duck gives up his slingshot. Skipper says that we cannot use the slingshot unless we have ammo, and instead of suggesting we use rocks, he says we need fruit from Gloria. But fine, okay, let's just go do the hippo hop, or whatever the Family Guy clip says. The new ability you get here is the ability to go underwater and boost to attack things. When underwater, you can even encounter the most Donkey Kong Country enemy to ever be seen in a non-Donkey Kong Country game. Anyways, then Gloria sends you on another side quest in which you need to get the fruits from the bird enclosure because the bird stole the fruits for some reason. Why did we go to Gloria? No time to think. I must toboggan. And because I tobogganed, I now have a new ability in the form of this wrench. This wrench allows me to use the soda bottles and levels as a propulsion device to launch me into the air. And this is also by far one of my favorite abilities because it's just how fun it feels. But then it gets followed up by one of the worst levels in the game. I hate bird enclosure. Vertical levels in any game just make me annoyed. But once you escape that hellhole once and for all, you can continue the story. Giving the fruit to the gang will let Kowalski give you the slingshot ability. This ability acts a little specially, so it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, when you see a fruit basket like this, you need to hold down the right trigger, aim your shot with the arrows, and then shoot with the B button to hit walls and such that you couldn't break with just a fish. And before you start thinking about it, yes, you are right. This does not have a lot of utility. The next thing we need to do is get a blow dart with chloroform in it or whatever in order to escape the zoo. But said dart was taken by the monkeys. But no problem, they're our friends. But uh-oh, the baboons stole them from the monkeys. But since baboons are too scary for penguins, we need to get the help of Alex the lion. Because of course we do. And then you get to play as Alex. I never said this was a good thing. The funny thing is, despite being told we needed Alex, when you go back to play this level just as private, it's actually way easier. So in reality, the lion enclosure level was just a waste of time, but at least he can do a double jump. The next mission is using the newly acquired sleeper dart to put all the guards of the zoo to sleep, requiring you to enter a level, knock out the guard, and then leave 7 or so times. This isn't as bad as it sounds. The blow straw itself is pretty simple to use as well. At any given moment, you can press the right trigger to pull out the blow straw, and then when you press B, a dart will fly out in front of you. If it hits a human, they're out for the count, but any other enemy and they'll wake up within like 10 seconds or so. So overall, this thing is pretty nice. I wish it was just faster to pull out. Once we do that, we finally have everything we need for our escape. Time to see how the tunnel out there is looking. Turns out the new plan is to take a train to Antarctica, which is of no issue. Train time! Well, we meet again. So, just like in the movie, our plan gets foiled, and now we have to escape the ship. The 2 levels here kind of blow, if I'm gonna be honest. Knocking out all of the guards is not one of the most exciting processes of all time, but it's no problem because in the end our goal is all the same. Goodbye ship, hello Antarctica. Take 2. Goodbye ship, hello Madagascar. The Madagascar level is the final level, putting all of your abilities and skills to the test, letting you talk to all of the friends you've made along the way. And King Julian, which all culminates in a final battle between me and a bunch of cougars. We beat the game. 100%ing this game sucks, by the way. Time to review this thing and give it the at least more than 7 it deserved. Replayability? Through the roof. Look at all this content I got out of the main story. And I would do it all again. Depth? It's there literally, at least. I mean, look at that penguin. It looks 3D. OST? Better than most other games on the Game Boy Advance. Story? Memorable. I mean, look at that hippo hop. Graphics? It feels like I'm practically there. Gameplay? God, I love video games! And with all those marks you may be asking, what is my personal score on the game out of 10 because 10 is usually the max score of the majority of these sites? Well, suffice it to say, 7. 7.5 maybe, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I think this ended up being a huge waste of time because that's just what everybody else gave it!